everybody. Welcome out to this episode of The Main Talk. I'm Dylan Sasser.
I'm Jaydan Openshaw.
And we are joined today by a fairly familiar face, at least to us. You guys know him by his sound.
Hello.
Our behind-the-scenes guy. We have Harrison Carr.
But they've never actually heard my voice before, so this will be a whole new thing to them.
So this is like crazy, like Inception. We're going Inception.
Right.
We're going to the podcast within the podcast within the podcast.
Podcast.
All right, so we brought Harrison on the show today to talk about his actually really interesting topic for this month's magazine, which is, Harrison, you take it away.
So this month I decided to do my story on what teachers' views are towards letting students listen to music in the classroom. Which is really interesting because if you think about it, there are so many students, basically at least one in every classroom, who you see has either earbuds in or is sort of listening to music, and it makes you wonder, does that benefit them?
I would say it does benefit
I would, for sure, because I love listening to music, and whenever the teachers give you an assignment to do, they usually always ask the class if they want music on. And we usually do, and that just kind of keeps us calmed down a little bit more.
Except when the teachers play absolute crap.
That is true.
And then you're like, what is this?
See, I even like to listen to music, or I also like to listen to podcasts when I go to bed. It just helps me keep my minds off of going who knows where, and helps me go to sleep and concentrate.
And that's how I used to be. I used to not be able to fall asleep unless I had music. I still am I just do it to kind of calm myself down, but I kind of have the opposite effect lately because I'm really into a group called Disturbed right now, and they're hard rock.
So like a hard rock,
say the F word and all that kind of stuff, but they're not.
Gosh, Dylan,
they're not quite the band you want to fall asleep to.
Yeah,
and I have
really.
Sick and Twisted dreams, and I wake up and the pool of the blood of my enemies. Just kidding. This never happened. Ever.
I was like, wow.
But
that's interesting.
Not only are teachers being aware that music does help study, but corporates are getting aware of that.
Yeah,
Pandora has a study playlist, and I think Spotify does as well.
Spotify has a lot of different ones. They have ones for sleep, they have ones for studying, they have ones for calming you down, and just stuff like that. So.
No, my music service of choice is Pandora.
I love Pandora.
And SoundCloud.
See, I love Spotify. Pay for it monthly.
The issue is with Spotify in my house is it's banned.
What?
Because they've come out in the past and said that they're anti-parental controls, and my parents are against that. But that's why my parents abandoned. But I've heard of people using it, and some of my favorite artists have Spotify channels, and you can listen to their music for free. So I see the perks of it, but I personally buy my music. I have a huge album collection going on.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. When I went in to start talking to teachers about it, it sort of seemed to be this divide between some of the older teachers and over the newer, younger teachers. And you look at teachers like Mr. Meyer and Mrs. Stanley, who both are relatively young. And Meyer plays music in his classroom basically always.
Oh, yeah,
his music is weird. It's just straight up Lord of the Rings soundtrack. It's just kind of
yeah, that is true, but
what the heck is this?
But then you look at some of the older teachers, and Mr. Alexander, who I did an interview, but is very much no listening to music, and
that's for sure. He makes sure everybody takes their headphones out and
it's
doesn't even touch their phone.
It's sort of this divide between the new generation of teachers and the old generation of teachers that until pretty recently didn't have to deal with this problem of students listening to music in class.
Yeah, that's for sure, because it wasn't as accessible as it is now, especially since you can just download music for free on your phone now.
Oh, yeah.
And be able to put in some headphones and be able to listen to it pretty easily. So.
Well, and the other thing that we had was, that being said, though, the teachers are we don't let them listen to it while we're giving instruction. But if it's on their own students' own time, I've told them, go work on this, they are very willing to let students listen to music, and in some cases, let the students play their music for the whole class, given, it's school appropriate.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I think that makes sense to me. Like, you obviously don't want it to be a distraction, but if there is something in your brain that responds to music better than, like, let's say, normal instruction from, like, a teacher, or even sleeping, if there's something there that's legitimate, that it's just not the student's like, hey, yeah, I listened to my Chance the Rapper, it's the only way I can learn my mathematic equations, sir. I mean, that's like garbage.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and it may help them, but, like, no one else is interested in that.
Yeah, for sure, not many people.
Yeah.
So,
if you want more information on this, actually fairly interesting subject, I'd go check out Harrison's video and article coming up in the March edition of the Main Street Journal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our next one is coming up very soon. For broadcast students, which all of us are, we don't have like basketball games or football games where we get a lot of people to show up, and there's no way for us to really compete, except there are two festivals that are done by the state of Utah every year called the Film Festival and the Broadcast Awards.
yes.
The Broadcast Awards are coming up. It starts basically tomorrow, the 16th.
Yeah, they're the day of competitions tomorrow, which me and Dylan are competing in.
Yeah, for those of you who tuned into our last podcast, we talked about worst dates, and then me and Jane kind of expounded on it. And I think we should start doing is like a Good Mythical More style thing, where we go after hours and just talk about like more in depth on it. But that's just a maybe idea. But we are submitting Main Talk content for best podcast, and
two different things. One
Oh
for
my
you and one for me.
gosh. Like, because the thing that we have is it has to be 1 minute or 2 minutes for what we're
Nothing in
submitting the
between.
main talk for.
Which made it super hard for us to be able to time that out perfectly. It was
We like did the dry run through where everyone, like, we sort of talked through the story, and then when 2 minutes hit, we stopped, figured out what we needed to cut, and then run it again. And then I had to go in and make sure that it was exactly 2 minutes.
Yep.
So that we don't get disqualified. And
I mean, if it's 2 minutes and 1 second, it's out of the running. It's insane.
If it's a minute and 59 seconds, it's out.
It's either exactly 1 minute or it's exactly 2 minutes. So obviously there are a lot more rules and regulations for us than there are.
It was kind of strict.
Yeah.
For that. So.
We just got the itinerary for the day of thing tomorrow, and the rules for the competition that me and Jen are participating in, and it's straight up like, if it's
There's a lot of rules that are going into it to make sure it's
late. If it's late by 5 minutes, you're disqualified. That's understandable.
Well, yeah. If it's 5 minutes after the time it's due, you get 0 points, and if it's any time after that, you're disqualified.
So it's crazy strict, but Payson's always done historically well at the Broadcast Awards. Last year, we won. Jacob Hanks won
Best male anchor.
Best Male Anchor. We won Best Show.
Yep.
Film Festival. Zach Allens won Avant Garde, and I think Michael Osei placed in Avant Garde, but he didn't.
I think he took third.
Yeah.
Maybe second. I'm not sure.
okay, so for someone who's new to the broadcast department like me, what's the difference between the broadcast awards and film festival?
Broadcast Awards is more towards the editing side, and Film Festival is more towards the story side.
Okay.
So that's why, I mean, Film Festival is a little bit more laid back.
Yeah.
The Broadcast Awards is certainly the one, especially for like what we're wanting to do, broadcasting.
Well, up until this year, it was done by BYU, which has a crazy good broadcasting department. at
Oh,
their
it's
school.
insane. And
I believe it's 100% placement rating after you graduate from there. So something like that, that's crazy to have.
And if you get like awards from there, and the teacher, I don't know who runs it this year, but the teacher for the BYU broadcasting department was the one who actually put it on. And I heard stories of him seeing like student-made work, like high school students, and talking later and like, hey, we'd love to have you in our program. Is there any way we can get you to come to BYU? And I've heard of scholarships being given away.
See, and I want to go to BYU just because I like that school. as you've probably seen, I've worn jackets for BYU, but I also love the broadcasting department there.
Real quick, we're going to put up a quick slideshow of all the times James wore BYU gear. It's going to be right by James' face. Yep, that's insane. That's creepy.
Yeah.
Amount of BYU gear. But so, by the time this podcast is aired, we'll have already received. No, actually, we will know if we won anything or not by the time this one airs.
Yeah, probably. Or I say we do tomorrow. We do the podcast up there, and then air that one the week after.
We'll do a vlog. Yeah. If you've already seen this, check out our vlog that we posted from the broadcast awards. Not scripted or anything. It's going to happen. And then we'll also make sure to do one at the dinner itself, watching us hopefully win Best Podcast. Hopefully.
Let's hope.
You make it sound like this podcast right here is scripted.
It's not. We decide what ideas we want to talk about, and then we just talk about them.
There have been times in the past where we've messed up so bad that we've had to restart, and that's been rough. Mm-hmm. It's been incredibly rough.
Especially when you get through two of the ideas we're talking about, get to the last one, and then you screw up, and you're like, oh man, you gotta start over. Okay.
And I mean, as of late, we've gotten better. I mean, we've kind of figured out our equipment. Our biggest issue was like SD cards filling up.
Yeah, we only had like 8 gigabyte SD cards, and when you're going 20 minutes plus, they fill up quite.
Especially when we're filming on the DSLRs. And
yeah, that's for sure.
We're currently using the Sony XD cam, which is actually a high-end camcorder. Mm-hmm. But it has a twin SD card slot. So if we had had that during the early days, we would have been fine. We could have filled up 8 gigs just fine. But now we're full out and good. Things are running smoothly, as you guys are seeing. Mm-hmm. We're actually
starting to get better and better too.
Yeah. So be sure to check in on our vlogs, which will hopefully be up by the end of this week. And we will talk to you guys about the rest of the broadcast awards stuff coming up after the awards ceremony on the 23rd of next week.
Yeah, it's next Thursday.
Next Thursday. So whatever day.
Yeah, it would be the 23rd because I'm leaving for Disneyland the 24th.
Screw you, Jane.
So.
No one cares.
Wow, you're so nice.
You sound like you care without.
I get it. I get to be here in Utah, freeze my tail off.
Yep, and I get to go to California, spend time at Disneyland, the beach, and Universal Studios. So you know.
So, Jane, you are a Patriots fan.
Very big Patriots fan.
And you just won a Super Bowl. Your team did.
Yes, they did.
Much to the demise of the rest of the NFL, I don't know of anybody else besides Patriot fans who wanted the Patriots to win.
I would like to point out that I don't care about football, so this next part will probably not have much for me.
So, but Jane's going to tell us a story. We're going to start doing this.
Start with a quick little story here. Okay, so on Sunday, my Netflix account ran out, and I had to pay for it, okay?
Oh, that's the worst.
I had $20, so I had $20 in cash, and that's all I had. So I had to hurry and run to the bank, put that $20 in my account, and I had to go to the ATM, obviously, because the bank's not open on Sunday.
Because this is Utah.
It's Utah. So I went there, put it in, and as I was finishing, I had a guy pull up behind me, and on the back of my license plate, I have a license plate cover type thing that is a New England Patriots one. And he came up to me and he's like, hey, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to get robbed. I'm at the bank.
It's at a bank, and some guy walks up behind you and says, hey, my first idea is this guy's not going to give me something. He's going to take something.
Exactly.
He's going to take my life and my money.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, Utah, we're like low crime rate, and I think that makes us more scared of crime.
Which is weird. You would think it would be the opposite. We'd be less scared of being
But no, like, because of it, we like see all these nasty things in other states and in the news, and we're like, oh my gosh, that could happen to me. But it won't because I live in Utah.
And I was like scared out of my mind because he wasn't the nicest looking guy I've ever seen. He was like a kind of like a druggy type looking guy, not to make fun of him or anything.
Wow.
But he was, and when he came up behind me out of nowhere and was like, hey, I'm like, okay. And then he's like, I saw your license plate cover, and I saw it was a New England Patriots one, and I'm like, okay, what
Are you
does
now
that
going
have?
to like punch me because
Yeah.
we won?
Are you a Falcons fan? I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
is he gonna
I
get
apologize.
pissed off for like being a Patriots fan or something? And then he's like, I collect these stickers. And I'm like, okay. And he showed me it, and it's an awesome New England Patriots sticker right there.
And that looks good on
And I'm
It
me.
is pretty cool.
I was pretty happy with how it turned out from me thinking I was about to die or get robbed into getting something from just this random stranger. So it was.
So, what we got from Jayden's story is that, first of all, Utahns are very scared of potential crime.
Yes.
Second of all, Jayden's a terrible member of the church because he was out and about on a Sunday, not in church.
It was after church.
And third of all, Jayden is broke and only got $20 and he used all that money for Netflix. That's what I got out of this.
I had $10, but it kind of disappeared on.
Isn't that how money goes though?
Yeah.
I mean, I just spent all my money today on lunch.
See, I had $10, and I went to lunch with the people sitting behind the camera right now. You've probably heard them a couple times throwing a coin around.
There it is.
There it is.
Hello.
But anyway, I went to lunch with them on Monday, I believe it was, and I went to buy lunch, and I didn't have money, apparently, because Spotify decided to take money out of my account after I haven't paid for it for like 6 months. They
Whoops.
decided just to take it out the day I was going to go to lunch, and I just had enough money.
How rude.
And I
This
had to
is
have
stupid.
him buy me lunch because I felt really bad.
We should do a story on that. The poor high school student.
Yeah.
It basically would be an autobiography of my life.
Or my life. Or Tanner's life, since he doesn't have a job.
But it's okay for Tanner because he doesn't have a job. Understandably, he's broke. But you and
I don't really have a job right
you're
now.
getting ready to work 2 jobs though. I'm working 3. You're working basically 2 jobs with the broadcasting department. I'm working 3. I should have money.
But you don't.
In theory, I should have money. I should not have all spent it today.
On albums.
I do.
Or Trump hats.
I do. I do have some pretty cool stuff going on right now. I have very cool worldly possessions. But one thing, we didn't even talk about this beforehand, but one idea I had that we should talk about on the show is kind of a really prevalent subject, especially in our class period right now, is PDA in the classroom.
Dear.
Oh, man.
Which is kind of an uncomfortable topic, but it is something that I think we should be discussed and something that we should be debated. In our class, we don't have a huge problem with PDA, and I don't have a huge issue with it throughout the
Not so much just in this classroom, but at the school.
in the halls. It's terrible.
Well, and I feel like it's one thing if you're like holding hands with your significant other. It's another if you're like making out in the hallway.
Or sitting on top of each other.
Right.
That's just
like,
weird. I mean,
It kind of makes everybody else kind of feel uncomfortable, and we don't need to be seeing you guys feel that affection for each other. That's kind of something you do on your own time.
I get you like each other. I don't like you enough to have to watch this, though. That's my thought on it. I'm like, you're a cool kid. Why are you doing this to me?
Right. I draw the line at hand holding. Anything past hand holding.
Maybe a kiss or something. I'm fine if you guys kiss, hug, but not making out or sitting on top of each other and doing stuff like that.
I mean, love is a beautiful thing. Like, everybody should experience love. But everybody around you shouldn't have to experience your love.
Yeah.
Especially in high school where we're like, I don't necessarily care that you have a relationship. I don't have a relationship. For some reason, women do not date me. I don't get it. I'm attractive.
I can say right now, both me and you are not that attractive. So I think.
Let me tell you,
There you
how wrong you are. But
Oh dear.
agree to disagree on our levels of attractiveness. But there are, as Harrison said, there are some levels of PDA that I'm okay with.
Yeah.
And there are some that everyone's okay with. And some people might not find the levels that we're not okay with. They might be okay with those.
Yeah.
But I think it's just an opinion. I don't know. In my professional opinion, about being single and having to watch people with PDA, I say, tap out. I don't want to watch. So, I don't know about you guys, but I say the PDA is not okay in most situations.
I'd agree.
With restraint is what I'll say on that.
Yeah. I'll agree with you, Harrison.
So, Harrison, do you have any stories you want to tell us before we...
Well, it's a story I tried getting you to tell last podcast, but you weren't quite understanding what I was saying, and so I'll go ahead and tell it now. So last year, I went to homecoming with Dylan and one of our other friends, and our dates, of course, and so we're driving home, taking all the girls home, and we drop off our friends first, so I'm the driver, and so Dylan gets out so that the other two can get out. And then he just stays out, and as they're walking to the doorstep, Dylan starts singing, "Can You Feel the Love?"
I did.
He did that to me during homecoming.
Okay, I'm glad it's not just me that had this happen to.
I feel like Elton John should be shared in most situations.
I mean, you aren't wrong, but it was just really funny because both of them were just a little bit awkward, and like the sheer fact that you started singing "Can You Feel the Love" and just made it that much more awkward.
That was
yeah,
both
especially
of their
since
first dates.
That was my first date when that happened to me too, and I was like, happening. I feel very awkward and weird right now, especially since it was with your adopted sister.
Well,
that was even weirder.
Hey, try being in my
Dylan.
shoes, having to be in the same group as my sister on her first date. That was weird in itself. Goodness.
But no, anyways, so we get to drop my date off last, and as we're getting out, Dylan could not figure out how to work the doors in my family van.
And that's Dylan for you. Let me tell you.
So I just took the keys out of the ignition. Me and my date got out, and then I locked Dylan in the van and to avoid what had happened to this other friend of ours, and as he was dropping his date off.
The thing is, people have tried to flip it on me. I tried to do the same thing to me, but
except you're just awkward.
I just take it.
Yeah, you're the one who created it, so you have to.
Yeah, like when people do it to me, I'm like, that's not even a good song. You should just sing Elton John, "Can You Feel the Love Tonight?" Like all the time. Like every movie score should have parts of that in there.
Just randomly.
I'm just imagining in Star Wars, "Can you feel the love tonight?"
Okay, guys, we don't need to be singing.
No.
We suck here, okay?
When Vader cut off Luke's hand, I can see it. When Luke's kissing Leia, I can see it.
See, I personally like that Facebook page Selena scene, where it's just Celine Dion and to like all these different movie scenes.
It's dank. It's
like
dank.
those are pretty inspired.
So this podcast, I'm sure, went over a little bit than what we're normally doing, but we're trying to.
It's fine. I don't think a podcast should really have a time limit on it.
Yeah.
It should just be.
Well, I don't know. 2 hours seems a little long.
Yeah, that's a little long, but.
But I do think we have run out of. I've gotten my fair share of your guys' stories.
Yep.
You've educated me about PDA, not singing in front of people on dates.
Feeling like you're about to get robbed and die.
And I feel pretty educated today. I feel like this was a successful episode of the Main Talk. Quick thanks to Harrison for being on camera this
You're welcome.
time.
Yep.
It was awesome to have him on the show.
Don't expect to see me next week.
Tune in next week to see our special guest star, Daniel Sasser, who will be talking about some of the athletic stars here at Mason High School.
I'd just like to point out that Daniel is dabbing behind the camera.
He's so excited to be on. Like, he's written me countless letters. All my fan mail come from Daniel, like, hey, have me on the show. Hey, here's $20, have me on the show. Just kidding, it wasn't $20.
Your brother wouldn't pay you.
No, he wouldn't.
That's for sure.
Well, that's all the time we have for you guys today. Signing off from all of us here at Main Talk. I'm Dylan Sasser.
I'm Jaydan Openshaw.
And I'm Harrison.
We'll see you next time.